Brightest blessings, everyone. Psychic medium Elizabeth Grove, the Paranormal Priestess. Welcome to the Paranormal Priestess YouTube channel, and thank you so much for joining me. If you are new to the channel, I welcome you here. My name is Elizabeth. I am a medium, divine channeler, remote spirit extractor, white witch, and divine alchemist, and I also happen to be a divine twin flame on the path of ascension. I hope that all of you are doing well out there with these really intense energies. I know the Lion's Gate is really super intense. Very powerful time for new beginnings, closing the door on the past. But as we know, going through healing, it's not a linear thing. It can become very uncomfortable at times, and so I really commend you for sticking with yourselves. I know a lot of you have been having things come up in the past, old thought patterns, old emotions, and it's not easy. It's not easy. And for those of you who are new, I offer personal sessions. The personal sessions that I offer are personal readings that are medium readings, channeling readings. There's also a lot of coaching and guidance in there. We don't use any cards, just all straight communication. And what I love about the straight communication with your spiritual teams, your angels, your guides, your helpers, star races, star teams, it could be even elementals, whoever is on your team. We really dig in deep into any types of blockages, anything that is preventing you from moving forward on your path. And for those of you who are new, I always work with Archangel Michael. He is always in my corner, one of my main guides. And I love Michael when he brings through messages during personal sessions because they're always very intense. They're straight out of the box, right to the point. And it's really just a wonderful thing to be able to hear the angels. I hear very, very strongly. I have other clairs as well, but hearing is very strong for me. To just be able to bring this information through to help people to heal so they can become their best version. That's what we're working towards. Becoming our best version, being able to manifest and attract at this really high level. The video that I have for you today, I think, is going to be a great one for you to return to. This one is one that is going to help you take your healing to the next level. Now, if you're just spiritually awakening, then this is going to be great because this is going to give you a lot of different details here, steps. How do I heal? How do I begin? Where do I go with the healing? If you've been working on your own healing, of course, kudos to you, but this might be a great addition here because this is going to help you to go broader, a lot more broadly with your healing. The purple color, the violet color is all around me. I'm wearing it today as well. And we're going to talk a lot about being an alchemist and how this is really where we're going with things. Being able to turn the negative energy into positive energy. Think turn lead into gold. I've talked about the violet flame before. The violet flame, for those of you who don't know what the violet flame is, it's Holy Spirit. It's the Holy Spirit, basically, in fire form. Think of that transmutation. Again, turning negative into positive. Belongs to the seventh ray. Archangel Zachiel is the archangel of the seventh ray. And Ascended Master Germain brought this to humanity, brought it to Atlanteans, as a matter of fact. He was a priest. And it was a dispensation to really help to liberate souls. That liberation of being able to transmute the past. Anything that's holding you down, that's dense, keeping you from your light, keeping you from rising. This is what that alchemy is meant to do. There is also a brand new dispensation. Well, I should say it's been here for some years, but definitely not as long as the violet flame has been. And this is the ultraviolet fire dispensation. And for any of you who follow Steve Noble on YouTube, who I absolutely love, very inspired by, I consider him, one of my teachers that's really helped me to get to the next level. He had talked so much, he still talks about it, he still has his transmissions with the ultraviolet fire. And the ultraviolet fire really is super powerful. For some, it could be a little too powerful. So you just have to see how you feel with it. But anyone who asks, okay, well, what would be one of the best tools to use in my own personal healing? I always right away go to the ultraviolet fire or violet flame. And you know what? It comes up in my sessions. It comes forth from their team that this is, something to take advantage of, something to use, something that's really going to help to dissolve anything that could be holding you back or interfering with your energy or connecting you to anything lower, anything or anyone, I should say, and help to liberate you. So that way you can take on more light, fill up with more light, right? You're ascending. So ultraviolet fire. Okay, and the easiest way to do this is to just visualize yourself in this sphere of ultraviolet fire. And this ultraviolet fire, the intention is that it's burning away or dissolving all of the past. I want to get into some of the steps on where to go with this, how to get like more of a bang out of your buck, I would say, with using the ultraviolet fire, using alchemy. Right? Alchemy, we are divine alchemists. Really at our core, we are here to be divine alchemists. Being able to disconnect ourselves from old lower grids, even like the lower karmic grid of the earth. Now, the grid of the earth is an ascension grid. It's a 5D grid. The earth is ascending. To be able to clear out interferences from lower beings, being able to no longer have cords, threads, or hooks to any people, or even to past timelines, being able to be free from any old vows or promises or contracts, to really be free from any rituals, from any bindings, from any curses, anything like that, to be free from any other people's energies interfering in our fields. There are energy vampires out there, that's for sure, right? And we have to be really careful as to some of the energies that we come in contact with, because some are really good and really high, positive, and then we have other energies that are very low, very dense, very toxic, right? So we're here to really transmute, as divine alchemists, as powerful sovereign beings, transmute that toxic energy into light, to take on more light, to allow more of our soul light to return to us. We've been through many different traumas, some from this lifetime, but it's also been from other lifetimes. We also have to understand that we take on a lot of stuff, a lot of programming, a lot of traumatic programming or thought patterns, limited beliefs. We get a lot of this stuff from our bloodlines as well. It comes down the bloodlines from our ancestors. Now, this is not to say to blame any of our ancestors and hold grudges or be very resentful that mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, great-grandma, grandpa, passed down these limited beliefs. They did the best that they could. But since we are here to take on more light, to ascend, we are only going to carry the positive aspects from our ancestral lines. We're also doing a lot of healing for our ancestral lines to be able to bring them up higher and bring them into the new grid of the earth. But we're not taking any of their lower luggage. We're not taking any of their dense types of habits or behaviors or thoughts or emotions, their traumas from back in the day, where they felt like they had to really work because life was a struggle, or you can't get anywhere in life, or you made your bed so you need to lay in it. These limited thoughts about life and the self. Life doesn't get much better than this. When you get older, you get really sick, and that's just because when you're older, you get sick. There's so many, so I can't really get into all of those. Definitely you want to do a personal reading, personal session. We can get into very specific things. But we do carry these things. And from other lifetimes, we've had very traumatic scenarios as well. Many of us have been persecuted for speaking our truth. Many of us have been in tribal scenarios where we've had a lot of loss of family members due to war. you know, there's just a lot of different scenarios there where it's been very violent, very aggressive, and we don't want to carry all that stuff. We carry it right down to the cellular level. Other dimensions, we've experienced things as well. We've had a lot of karma. Now, this is something that the violet flame can help with. Of course, ultraviolet fire can help with as well, as dissolving karma. So karma really is actions between people. Okay, we also have dharma, which is action with self. We can have positive karma and dharma. We can have negative karma and dharma. I'm sure you've heard, you know, oh my gosh, I don't want to, instant karma is going to get you, right? You know, that's all from John Lennon. Or karma, my gosh, I don't want to create negative karma. I want to fulfill my dharma. And we've heard that before. So as alchemists, we are looking to clean up the past, as I said. So we want to be able to transmute that karma. We want to be able to wrap those lessons up. We want to be able to close the door. So that way we are not impacted in a negative way by the past any longer. We're only carrying the growth. We're only carrying the lessons, right? Those are the gifts. But the rest, that's not what we want, right? That is the density there. So let's talk about the steps. I just want to get into the steps of this. I actually wrote some flashcards here. I might come up to the camera with these. Feel free to create your own if you want to do this, you know, in your personal space when you're doing your healing. I found that this was really, really helpful, using the violet flame, using the ultraviolet fire, even working with Archangel Michael, helping to cut me free, my beloved and I free. Just as a note, for those of you who are aware that you're twin flames, you're on the twin flame journey, beloved journey, sacred partner, however you wish to call it, you're doing healing, the best thing is to ask your twin's higher self if it's okay, if they give permission for you to do the certain healing and to raise that frequency of love and light between you. Chances are they will probably say yes. But just in the case that they may not be ready for that, just check in. And you could always ask their higher self, their I Am Presence, and their spiritual team to join and to assist with the healing. And of course, you would call your own as I Am Presence, higher self, and higher spiritual team as well. So the first step for alchemizing is to, probably can't read that, just thinking that. A little backward there. Okay. Okay, identity. Okay, so let's talk about identifying. Identifying the healing theme. Okay, so I'm just going to read these. I'm not going to show them. Okay. So what theme is coming up? Is it rejection? Is it abandonment? Is it betrayal? Is it feeling like you are in victim consciousness? Is it entrapment? Is something coming up from the bloodlines? Is it a repeating pattern having to do with something that you know comes from mom and dad, the environment? Whatever that is, identifying the theme is going to be first. And that, of course, is going to mean that you want to be able to connect with yourself without resistance. So yes, that can be the hard part for some people because naturally we don't like feeling the really bad, cruddy stuff, the dense, heavy stuff, you know, but when we tune into ourselves, that's when transformation happens. That's the beginning of transformation. We're saying yes. We're saying, okay, let me see what this is about. In some cases, though, it just comes up. It just purges up. But in that case, even still, you want to be able to connect with it as to what you're feeling, what that theme is, and to be sure that you're feeling out those emotions without repressing them again, because a lot of people repress things, right? We don't want to feel that. We press it down, 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 and it becomes very toxic. It eventually can create illness. So to press it down actually does not help us. It does the opposite. So if we can acknowledge it, give it a voice, be able to connect in as compassionate of a way as we can, as gentle as we can. I know sometimes it's very hard. It seems like it's impossible to do that at times. But if we can just realign and be able to step back into compassion and gentleness with ourselves, really connecting even with the chakras, putting your hands on whatever chakras or where you're feeling the energy. For some people, they may be feeling out of their solar plexus. There's been a lot of clearing coming out of there. It could be sacral, it could be the base where you're feeling a lot of back pain. But even putting your hands there and just feeling that energy and closing your eyes perhaps, taking deep breaths, and just being with the sensations, that's going to be really, really helpful. You're acknowledging it. You're not pushing it away or resisting it. Okay? So identifying the healing theme is going to come first. These are going to all connect together. Okay? So then, of course, we have the emotions, the thoughts that come with it, the beliefs, the patterns, the stories, identifications. A lot of times we create false masks, false identities, right? There's trapped memories, there's behaviors, there's habits and addictions, and there's also illusions and delusions too, just to add that in. So all of these things are connected to that healing theme a lot of times, okay? It may not be all of them, but a lot of times there are emotions, the thoughts, the beliefs, the patterns, the stories, the identities. Okay, for some people, like it turns into addictions, maybe not for everyone, but it's putting it together as to how it has impacted you. How? So what we're trying to do is get to the root cause. Okay. So then this is connecting to agreements, contracts, vows, promises, and permissions. Okay, also reasons or causes. Now, the agreements, contracts, vows, promises, permissions, these can be consciously made or consciously given, but they can be unconscious as well. All right, so just to give some examples of this, you might have had this karmic scenario with a partner. Back in another lifetime, there was this abandonment scenario that happened. Perhaps your person abandoned you. There was so many emotions, right? Thought patterns derived from that. You started creating stories about how life's not fair and you can't trust anybody. But there's still a vow that's in place. Even energetically, a vow can still be in place. So, for instance, you may still have a karmic partner's energy linking around, or maybe your beloved has karmic energy, karmic person's energy or higher self lingering around, even though they're not in physical relationship or physical connection. And that would be due to the fact that there hasn't been the release of a vow. Okay? Or a vow or a contract. So that's one scenario. Other scenarios can be sometimes we get into these entanglements in other lifetimes with lower forces or lower energies, lower beings and lower groups, dark magical groups, dark magical societies. And we may have contracts or agreements with them. Even if we have not given it consciously, we might have given it over unconsciously. There are many lifetimes where we've given our power away. We've been tricked. We've gotten entangled, right? And here's this karmic scenario. It's created karma. But there are agreements, there are contracts, or we have given our permission in a way which has not served us. So that's where this comes in. So just some things to think about. it's not for you. You don't have to go deep into the lifetime's details unless, you know, you're really guided to do like a past life regression, or you're asking your team to show you some things. But it's just to be aware of how broad this healing goes, and that we want to clean up all of it. And this leads into rituals, curses, and bindings. Okay, so yes, so for many of us, we are divine magicians, divine alchemists. Okay, and when I use the word witch, I just want people to understand, in case I'm like, witch to me is wisdom, integrity, truth, courage, honor. Okay, I would also consider myself a divine magician and a divine alchemist. Okay, but there have been lifetimes for us divine magicians, divine alchemists, where we got, again, entangled in situations that weren't so divine. Okay, so dark magical rituals and things like, you know, having this ritualistic energy stay with us through lifetimes, opening portals within our energy or within our space, you know, where there's been curses or bindings, where maybe we've been around voodoo and kind of, before you know it, you know, there's a voodoo curse that's on us. Right? For people who deal with supernatural forces, you know, other lifetimes we've dealt with different supernatural forces, and, you know, that energy tends to stick. And for a lot of people, that turns into a lot of types of hauntings in present time, and they're not aware of it. The ritualistic energy and things like that still with them, still apparent in their energy. They're still operating from that, drawing in a lot of that dark stuff, the dark attacks, the dark interferences. So it's just to kind of give you guys a little bit more of an idea, okay? And a lot of times karma can be associated with that. Spiritual vows can be associated with that. That's why I'm breaking this down, so you can kind of understand how they're all linked together. Speaking of link, this is a perfect segue. Cords, threads, hooks, ribbons of energy, and any and all connections, okay, to certain people, beings, groups. We talked about dark groups, lower beings, even lower grids like you know, Luciferic grids or dark AI grids. The old karmic grid of the earth. That's a grid we don't want to connect to any longer. Timelines where we've had a lot of trauma, timelines that we're holding on to, we can't seem to let go of. Okay. Timelines where we feel like perhaps there's a timeline where you just keep on just living this timeline over and over and over again. There's something there that's keeping you there, keeping you pulled there. All right? There's a healing that didn't take place there. There's still a connection to those old timelines. We want to be able to disconnect ourselves. This is so a part of being a divine alchemist. Archangel Michael. This is a perfect job for Michael. Not only the ultraviolet fire or violet flame, but this is a perfect job for Michael to also be called upon to use his blue fire sword, to cut away cords, cut away threads, hooks, and ribbons, cut you free from old timelines to old grid, you know, all that kind of thing, cut you free from. He's great with cutting cords, I have to say. He's very, very powerful. You can call upon him to cut these cords, these threads, these hooks. Okay, help to disconnect you from the past. And if you're looking for some more help with that, there is a very powerful light language that I did. Archangel Michael Light Code 5321. You'll find it on the channel. Lots of people commented on how they really saw Michael just cutting through everything, clearing from the past, and I think it would be just a great addition too if you wanted to go back and to take a look at that video and to you know, have that transmission come through, because it certainly goes with this. So keep that in mind, the cords, the threads, the hooks, the ribbons, any connections to people, to beings, to old grids, lower grids, And yes, an old grid, karmic grid, and old timelines. All right, so where to clear within your energy fields, and where do your energy fields go? So we have to understand we're multidimensional. It's really important when you're clearing, when you're transmuting, when you're using alchemy, that you're understanding that you are transmuting and you're clearing through everywhere you exist. Okay, so that's going to mean all layers of you, all levels, all minds, all bodies, right? We have multidimensional bodies, all timelines, so that'd be through all timelines, through all dimensions, and it's also including the bloodlines. So when you're doing the clearing, all the things that we were talking about, all layers, levels, minds, bodies, timelines, dimensions, and bloodlines is where you want to address it. Okay, that's a really important thing. And it's also very important when it comes to closing up your energies, sealing up your energies, and shielding your energies. Okay? And the ultraviolet fire is a great way of doing that. It's one of the ways. And then, lastly, you want to purify the Akashic soul records, right? So there's the universal Akashic records, right? But then we have our own soul records of all the different lifetimes that we've lived, right? Where there's been written down karma, different types of things that we have gone through. And we want to make sure that these Akashic soul records are cleared from the past, from the density. We want to be done with these lessons. Again, we want to retain the growth, retain the lessons, leave the rest so that it's not holding us down. We're not descending. We're here to ascend and help Gaia to ascend as well. So those are the steps. Those are the areas. I hope that this clarified for you where to go with your healing. Violet flame, super helpful. Ultraviolet fire, really, really powerful and intense. Now, what's also recommended, I know Steve also recommends this, is allowing some golden energy from the Christ grid, some golden energy to come through. Even solar energy would be great after you are using something as intense as, say, the ultraviolet fire. Just to kind of calm down everything, bring in this new energy, right? Washing everything through with this gentle gold would be a great idea. There's also a technique of asking 0-point field angels to create a 0-point field of energy around your field. That way, if you are going to have any negative effects or purging from the violet flame ultraviolet fire, which can be possible, this will help to neutralize those effects and bring everything to 0 point. So that's just a tip there to help you out. Yeah, I mean, this is going to take your healing to the next level. These steps, I mean, you can use these steps even if you weren't using the ultraviolet fire and the violet flame. It's just kind of understanding where you're releasing or asking for that release to happen. Great for, your personal prayer work, your personal meditation work. But I definitely recommend using such a powerful alchemy as the violet flame or ultraviolet fire, because it was really given to humanity, the violet flame and this newer dispensation given to humanity to help us in these times. Remember, you guys are all divine alchemists. You're just remembering who you are. I hope that this is going to be a great way for you to move forward through everything just a little bit easier, with a little bit more confidence, knowing that, okay, this is this is what I'm doing. This is where I want to do it for myself and even my beloved. And I am going to step into my power and know that I am a powerful being and I'm here to succeed in doing my healing work and being the light and bringing the light. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate all of you who have already subscribed to the channel. If not, please do. And thank you for those of you who have left comments, those of you who have written testimonials. It's really very humbling. I really appreciate being able to work with people. I love doing these videos for free, but I absolutely love doing personal sessions. So I do the personal readings, which are 1 hour readings. We cover a lot, and we're going to need that 1 hour. I also do light language healing sessions. I do one-on-one. So I do it for the channel, but I also do one-on-one where I'm going to channel this transmission that is going to really be very personalized for you to help to activate, to clear, to heal. And so those have been really, really great. That's a newer session that I added. And I also have the Spirit Extractions, which I do remotely through the light body. And of course, case by case, I have to look into that carefully. And whichever ones I am guided to do, whichever ones are also ready to be done, because a lot of times we have to address some of that karma or the rituals or the, that there. And once that's able to be accomplished, then I can go ahead and step in. But with all of these services, you really want to go to my contact page on my website, theparanormalpriestess.com. I will check in, see if you're a vibrational match, and then we can go set that up by email. I'm also going to leave all my social media. Everything's going to be below in the description, so you'll know how to get in touch with me. Thank you, everyone, and remember, from the heart of the darkness is born the light. Brightest blessings, and I will see you soon. Take care.